Good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so delighted always to honor and thank any of our generous alumni for their extraordinary dedication to the college. But there's no one I could be happier about honoring and thanking than Bill Ford, who's one of my favorite people in the world. I think he's probably one of the favorite people of a lot of folks. Right, Mayor Gay? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Bill, with the gift of Ford Hall, you helped to assure the future of the college for generations to come. And you also honor the people and the place who've shaped your experience, your Amherst experience, your life experience. You do that always with your generous philanthropic support, and it's a remarkable quality. Bill Ford has been part of the Amherst family for 4 decades nearly, as a student, a graduate, a parent, a trustee, the chair of our investment committee, and now still a shepherd of our endowment as a member of the investment committee. And Bill, your careful, deliberate, wise counsel in everything in which you get engaged has strengthened the college in so many ways. Just one recent example is that your commitment to transparency and clear reporting everywhere have led to lasting improvements in business practices for the board and in the leadership team at Amherst. Everything you've done as part of the board and the investment committee today give us strength in our investments, in our budget, in our financial planning, in our transparency, in all the business we do. And it's no surprise, as I said earlier, knowing Bill, that the support that he's extended to Amherst always honors the people he loves and the place he loves, your parents, your family members, your professors, students, and the physical environment that makes all of this possible. Your contributions have helped lead the college through some major transitions. 2008 was certainly one of those. And the work you did for the college ensured that we remained the strong and great institution that we are, along with a lot of your colleagues. It's because of people like you, and you in particular right now, that Amherst remains the great liberal arts college, the leading liberal arts college that it is. And stepping back just for a minute, for those of you who don't know Bill as well, I want you to know that Amherst College is just one of the many places that have been positively benefited by Bill's longstanding commitment to education, to healthcare, and to the arts. There's a long list, actually, of educational and cultural institutions. I'll mention just the Lincoln Center, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Rockefeller University, the New York Public Library, Stanford Graduate School of Business, and the many wonderful educational institutions that your children have attended. Count Bill among their most thoughtful and generous leaders and benefactors. And your notable philanthropy has inspired your coworkers on the extraordinary team that you lead at General Atlantic to establish a fund in your honor at Amherst College. Just one of the many effects of your generosity and passion, and thank you. And with this gift of Ford Hall, Bill not only provides an incredible resource for our students, but also helps us launch a whole set of projects known as the Greenway projects, including these residence halls and the landscaping associated with them, which looks nice in the snow, but will be even more evident when you come back in the summer. But it also helps us make all of the projects associated with the Greenway residence halls, including our major science center, a reality. And I want to announce here today that in addition to making the gift that names this Ford Hall, and how could we be prouder to call it anything but Ford Hall. Bill has also just made a commitment to what we're trying to do in science education at Amherst and has funded 2 new faculty positions for the Science Center that is about to be complete. Bill, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Everything that is a priority for us, that is student success, student life, student enjoyment, cutting-edge 21st century science research and education, improvements in the arts and humanities, all of these are things for which Bill Ford is noted as a supporter here and elsewhere. Ford Hall offers so much in addition to a space in which students can live. I think you've already gotten a little bit of a tour. You've seen the demonstration kitchen. We're in the event space here, which can be converted for use in all sorts of ways. I'm just going to mention a couple of the things that have occurred in this hall that have really moved me over the past year. One was a desire on the part of our international students to cook together during Thanksgiving break, at a time when many students, of course, are at home, away from campus. And we were able to offer them the possibility of this demonstration kitchen and this beautiful space to have them cook for one another the dishes of their particular cultures and nations. And Bill, given your commitment to internationalization and the awareness that comes with it, I knew you'd love that story. There's also a group of athletes who were looking for a way to come together and have an event that would be a little different from the usual, and the wonderful staff at Val were willing to be here so that they could use the demonstration kitchen and cook a major meal for themselves and their friends. So there have been already a number of events and gatherings in this space that can now be associated with you and your family legacy and your family name. So thanks to the entire family, to Mayor Gay, and most of all, to you, Bill. Lots of love from all of us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Biddy. Thank you, Bill. My name is Cullen Murphy. I'm the chair of the board. And Bill, on the way down here, I was just saying the word Ford Hall to myself. You know, Ford Hall. When you're trying to get used to a new term, Ford Hall. And I wonder, have you tried that out? You know, I'm living in Ford. Or I'm going to Ford. There's a party in Ford tonight. I just wanted to say something briefly about Bill on a very personal level. And you know, your sons can fact check me here, but I will tell you a few things that are true for me. I've known Bill since he came onto the board was it 2002, 2001, and I come from a very different world than Bill inhabits. And one of the nice things about Amherst is that it brings people of various diverse types together, and it did so in the case of Bill and myself. So here are 4 things that I learned about Bill that I know to be true, subject to the fact-checking. First is, he has an immense amount of knowledge, and it doesn't necessarily show. It's not worn on the outside. But I remember very early on in our friendship coming across him talking with the Nobel laureate Joe Stiglitz, also on the board. And the two of them were just doing this kind of tour of the world. Joe knew the same people that Bill knew. Joe, of course, was a scholar. Bill is a businessman. But to hear the two of them just going back and forth talking about how they got their frequent flyer miles it was a wonderful thing to hear. Second, his curiosity. As I say, Bill and I are from different worlds, and he knows a lot more than I do, but I probably know more about semicolons and things like that. And I can't, I can't count the number of times when at dinner he would be asking me, questions about what I did, when in fact I wanted to learn about how he was such a great shepherd of those sheep that Biddy was referring to. The third thing is he is a giver and not a taker. It's an odd thing. I can think of people who I've never seen give something in their lives and yet take all the time. And Bill is the opposite. Apart from requesting, salt and pepper or something, I don't think I've ever heard Bill ask for something for himself. And finally, simply his kindness. There have been so many times, I know what Bill's schedule is like. He's going places all the time. There's a bandwidth issue here. But when I have called, there has never been a moment where he said, can we talk in 3 weeks? It's always, admittedly there's some help from Emanuela here, but but it's always pretty much right away. And it's because of something about him that is just, it's not transactional. It's about the way he is, and it's about other people. Your gifts are extraordinary, Bill. Thank you for what you've done and for who you are. And speaking next is Aditya Krishnamurthy, the president of the Association of Amherst Students. Thanks.
What does it mean to be a mammoth, other than to be extinct? What does it mean to be a member of the Amherst community? This question is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially in terms of the extensive changes we've experienced over the past several years. Between renewing the ban on fraternities, tearing down the socials, diversifying the student body, and becoming the mammoths, figuring out what it means to belong here has been a near impossible task. But it is this extensive change that makes this moment so special, so mammoth, if I might. With the naming of Ford Hall, the Greenways, the architectural reflection of a changing Amherst, began to become a personalized part of campus. And what a fantastic change Ford Hall and the other new Greenway dorms represent. Built to hug and accentuate the New England natural landscape, these buildings remind us students of how lucky we are to live and grow on such a beautiful campus. Arguably, the most beautiful view on campus, or at least my favorite view on campus, is looking over Memorial Hill onto the sports fields and the mountain range in the back. How lucky are residents of Ford Hall and the other Greenway dorms to have this view from their bedroom. Thinking about these new dorms and the soon-to-be-completed new Science Center, what stands out to me is the intentionality of their architecture. Be it the intentionality of bringing different class years together in the new dorms, letting in natural light aplenty, or being more energy efficient, none of these are coincident. As I continue to think about what it means to be a mammoth, here and now, the concept of intentionality becomes crucial. It is only with intention that we can continue towards building the Amherst community that we want and deserve. I can't yet quantify what it means to be a part of this dynamic community. However, I know that the inception of Ford Hall is a significant moment in Amherst's modern history. These new buildings will play a big role in defining what it does mean to be a mammoth. So thank you, Mr. Ford, for this building, your other generous gifts, and this moment. They certainly all are mammoth.
That was great. That was great. Great. Well, thank you, Biddy and Cullen, for your very, very generous words. It means immensely to me. It was also great to hear from Aditi. Fantastic, and I love the students. It's wonderful to be back on a very snowy campus, surrounded by family, friends, a number of my Amherst classmates that we heard about earlier, and to be warmly welcomed by you and the trustees. Amherst has been, before I go there, and of course the Amherst lacrosse team. This is awesome, guys, being here. That was awesome. I'm thrilled. Amherst has been a very special place in my life. I graduated from Amherst in 1983, followed by my brother Mark in 85, and 30 years later, my son Billy. And here today are my two nephews, Andrew, a junior, and Ryan, a freshman. I was also very honored to serve as a trustee for 12 years and give back to an institution that I deeply believe in and did so much for me. And Chuck Lewis, who's right here, reminded me when he first recruited me to be a trustee that I would forge a very different relationship with the college during those years, and it was, in fact, completely true. It was actually here as an Amherst economics major that I became interested in finance and pursuing a job on Wall Street, which in 1983 was just waking up from a decade-long bear market. I didn't know what an investment bank was, but I was fortunate to secure an analyst position at Morgan Stanley while the firm was still a private partnership and characterized by integrity and professionalism. I was assigned to the technology group in the corporate finance department, which led to my very first trip to California and Silicon Valley, and fortunately a successful admission to Stanford Business School a couple years later. All of this fueled an interest in venture capital and investing, and I followed my passion to join a very small firm in 1991 named General Atlantic, which I've made my professional home for 27 years. I have been blessed to work for two great partnerships that were aligned with my values and have allowed me to grow both personally and professionally. Now back to Amherst and why we are here. Amherst is indeed a very special place, and I could not be happier that Ford Hall will be a very special part of this beautiful campus and the lives of Amherst students for years to come. I was also happy to hear from Ted Benesky that it snowed on the day that we inaugurated Benesky Hall, wherever Ted is. Philanthropy is very important to me and my family, but I can honestly say I've received immense joy and satisfaction from supporting Amherst, which, as a leader in the liberal arts education, is needed now more than ever to navigate an increasingly complex world. Let me again recognize my family and friends, my mom, Lenore, my partner, Mary Gay, my sons, Billy and Timmy, are here, my brothers and sister, Mark, Lee, Stephen, and my many nieces and nephews who are all here. But again, finally, let me thank Biddy, Cullen, and everybody else who played a role in organizing this very, very special day for me. So thank you. Okay.